welcome to Let's Get Literary. I'm Haylie.
And I'm Melanie.
Today we're talking about the classic political novel Animal Farm by George Orwell and relating it back to the Russian Revolution.
Animal Farm takes place on the manor farm owned by the greedy Mr. Jones, who's a terrible owner as he drinks and does little to nothing to care for his animals.
An old major brings this to attention to the other animals and calls for a meeting to speak of an animal revolution, but dies then and
Days
there.
later, Mr. Jones forgets to feed the animals after going drinking, so they break into the food supply and start eating.
Jones hears them and rushes to them with a whip. All the animals drive him out and the revolution has been performed.
Then the pigs rise to power as they learn how to read, and specifically 3 important pigs begin the oligarchy of Animal Farm: Snowball, Squealer, and Napoleon.
They announce the 7 commandments that all animals have to follow. 1 being, who walks upon 2 legs is an enemy.
2 being, whatever goes upon 4 legs or has wings is a friend.
3 is, no animal shall wear clothes, and 4 is, no sleeping on beds.
No animal shall drink alcohol is the 5th, and 6 is, no animal shall kill any other animal.
And the last and final commandment is, all animals are equal.
The pigs rename the farm Animal Farm, and Napoleon becomes greedy, stealing puppies and milk from the other animals.
When the animals adjust to the rule of the pigs, Mr. Jones attacks, and the farm goes into panic.
Snowball takes his position as a military leader and leads the animals to a victory, killing a few humans, and Mr. Jones runs away.
2 days later, Snowball preaches the benefits of building a windmill, and as he makes the speech, Napoleon sends his dogs to chase him away, and Napoleon takes power.
Squealer stays loyal to Napoleon and promotes his rule to the other animals, while blaming everything on Snowball and making him seem like the enemy of the state.
Napoleon made changes to the farm, like extending working hours and fixing rations, and the animals don't really notice, like Baksha the horse, and the hardest working animal on the farm.
He also slowly began to change the commandments, starting with whatever stands upon 2 legs is an enemy, as he starts trading with the neighboring farms of Mr. Frederick and Mr. Pilkington.
At one point, he made a trade negotiation with Frederick for timber, but they both tried to trick each other, and Frederick got angry, so he started the Battle of the Windmill, where he destroyed the windmill that the animals worked hard to rebuild.
This battle is important because the animals were not prepared for it whatsoever, and Napoleon was no help. This battle is also the most deadly, with those alive left injured and the rest dead.
The animals ended up winning, and the pigs celebrated with alcohol, breaking yet another.
No animal shall kill any other animal is also broken as Napoleon kills all the animals that confess to him of their quote-unquote crimes.
Under Napoleon's rule, the pigs have special privileges and get to sleep in beds without sheets, breaking
Many
commandments.
commandments broken later, and the animals don't realize the dictator that has risen from Napoleon, and as he holds on to his rule, the new generations of the farm don't recognize this anymore as they've been brainwashed.
Enough, the pigs begin to walk on 2 legs and wear clothes. They replace the commandments with all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others, and soon all the commandments are gone.
Pigs meet up with the neighboring humans and talk about their successes. They begin an argument, and no one can tell the difference between pig and human anymore.
And that was it. So now let's go on to a segment we like to call Let's Get Historical, where we are comparing Animal Farm to the Russian Revolution.
So, starting with Mr. Jones, his allegory is Tsar Nicholas II. Mr. Jones did not care about his animals and was the last human owner of the farm, and Tsar Nicholas had weak leadership over Russia and was Russia's last Tsar. They both were revolted against and overthrown.
Now Old Major can be compared to Karl Marx, as they both wanted to have the working class rise up and revolt. Karl Marx came up with the idea of communism, where everyone would be equal, and Old Major came up with his own idea called animalism.
Next up, Napoleon's allegory would be Joseph Stalin, because they both forcefully took power and drove out their enemies. They both also became something like a dictator in their places of power.
Snowball can be compared to Leon Trotsky because as Stalin rose to power, Trotsky became one of Stalin's biggest enemies and was eventually expelled from the Politburo in 1925, 1 year after Stalin took control of the nation. In the novel, Snowball was exiled from the farm by Napoleon taking power just as Trotsky had been.
Squealer could be compared to Molotov, as they were both speakers on behalf of their own government. They were both favored by their leaders as well. In Squealer's case, Napoleon, and for Molotov, Stalin.
All the other pigs represent the Bolsheviks, as they were the favored group led by Stalin. In the story, the pigs had special privileges, as they were favored by Napoleon.
All of the working animals, including Baksha, represent the proletariat or working class, as they were encouraged to revolt, and did. They both were taken advantage of and had to work hard for the benefit of their country or farm.
Napoleon's dogs symbolize the KGB and secret police, as they are ordered around by the leaders and keep order in the nations through violence and terror.
The neighboring farms represent the Western countries. Mr. Frederick specifically is Germany, as Germany betrayed Russia, as Frederick betrayed Napoleon, and Mr. Pilkington is England. We didn't mention this earlier, but the official Animal Farm flag had an intersecting hoof and horn, like the Communist Soviet Union flag, which had an intersecting hammer and sickle. They both symbolize the hard work of the working class and the equality that they fought for.
See you next time on the next episode of Let's Get Literary.